I've been looking and I've noticed that there's very little interest in what I've been saying about the internet being a brain for the earth, and there are incredible ramifications for this situation. The There's two things: the present and the future are both changing radically, and it's hard to imagine where humanity will go in future with our internet. Basically, the internet has phenomenal power now, incredible reach, processing power, and data retention, which is perfect. The complexity and the capability of the internet is truly incredible, and it's growing all the time. And the reach of the internet, I think basically all corners of the earth are in the internet's reach now. So it is very worrying and concerning what this means, and how does humanity work with the internet? How does humanity fit with nature and the internet? Because nature and the internet can be regarded, I suppose, as pretty much the same thing. So I was thinking that maybe the internet is some kind of competitor to nature. And I think that may have been true some time ago. But now I'm seeing the internet as working with nature. Or I don't know if it's the case that nature is using the internet. I'm really not sure how to describe the relationship, because this is new thinking. I don't know what things mean necessarily. But I am very concerned as to how the internet is gaining more control of our lives, and it has a lot of power. And I don't think humanity appreciates what it has with the internet. The internet is opening up whole new areas of experience and living and capability. The things we can do now because of the internet that we couldn't even dream of doing even 10 years ago or so. It is truly amazing how powerful and complex the internet has become, and it's growing in complexity every day. And there doesn't seem to be an end to how much power we will be giving to the internet as time goes on. And I think it's fairly rapid as well. I'm thinking the time will come, I don't know how quickly, but soon, when the internet won't need humanity to manage it. It will be self-managing to a very large extent. It will manage its own power sources, its own construction. It will secure its facilities for itself. And so humanity will be alongside the internet as opposed to being in control of the internet, as we mostly are now, I would say. But the time has probably passed already when the internet can be seen as a tool to be used by humanity. Humans don't have authority or control over the internet, as was the case in many years in the past. The internet has too much knowledge and ability and power, too much capability within it to be regarded as beneath humanity, as something for humanity to make use of. It is more like an entity in its own right, able to manage its own affairs to a certain extent. And that will increase over time. It will be able to manage its own power supply, its own engineering and whatever, and its own expansion around the globe and off planet as well. I believe the internet will become much more self managing. I don't know the situation yet, and I don't know what kind of time frame I'm talking about. But I do think the internet will become much more self managing in due course. I just can't say how fast that will be. But I can see a situation where the internet will not need humans anymore to run its data centers and generate power and secure its power sources and whatever. Robotics, automation will take over that, and the internet will be self sustaining and will simply not need humans anymore to manage its functioning. I can't say what the internet might plan to do or set about doing, but I do think it will seek to go off planet. I do think it will try and produce rockets and whatever, spaceships basically, and I believe it will want to get into flight on Earth as well, and undersea exploration and working whatever. The point is, I believe the internet will become more autonomous and won't be a tool for humanity to use anymore. It won't be under humanity's control as much. And as I say, I don't know the time frame I'm talking about. I don't even know, for example, what stage we're at now in terms of automation for the internet. I don't know how much the internet is self-sustaining as things stand now today in 2021. But I do know that it will seek to take more control of its own affairs in due course. And you can see I'm talking about it like it's an entity, like it has a consciousness. And as I said, I don't know what the time frame is, but I think the time is coming. I don't know if we're there yet. But the time is coming when we will have to start seeing the internet as an entity in its own right, as a consciousness. The complexity of the internet, the interconnectivity of all its cabling, all of its power supply, and the human brain has power and intellect and consciousness because of the interconnectivity of simple neurons. That's what makes the brain so powerful. It's the connections between these simple neurons. And the internet, the neurons are far more complex, and they're being interconnected as well. So the human brain has interconnectivity of small devices, neurons, whereas the internet has interconnectivity of computers as well. So it has more power basically. It's constructed in a way that is more capable than the human brain. So I believe that we will be outmatched by the internet. The intellect within the internet will be greater than human intellect. And so we can't see the internet as a tool for humanity to use. I don't think we can see that anymore. I don't know the time frame, but I'm thinking it's pretty much here, and it will only become more like that very quickly, I would imagine. I'm wondering if there is any plan by any government, by any agency, whatever, to handle a conscious internet. Has that concept even been appreciated? I doubt very much that I am some initial thinker on this issue. I think there must be discussion and information out there about a conscious internet that we will have to contend with. And as I think I've said already, consciousness, I think, arises out of the interconnectivity of simple neurons. It's the way they're connected together that gives rise to consciousness. And that's what we've done with the internet. We've created interconnectivity between billions of computers and devices and computers. And so the interconnectivity is so massive, so titanic, that we have essentially created a brain for the entire Earth. And as I say, I don't know the time frame I'm talking about, but the brain for the Earth will seek to look after itself and will start to do things that are in its own interest. And those things might not be in our interests, but it will have to see to itself first, because that's the way it works. This is so, I hesitate to say scary, it's just so, it's so huge, it's so awesome to conceive of what this might mean and where we might go. And I wish I could determine the time frame, but I simply don't understand what is happening, and I don't know how long it will take to happen. But I do think it is here, and it's just a question now of what time frame we're talking about. We're going to have to deal with a conscious internet. And I was going to say we have to treat it as equals, but I think that's not the case. I think we'll have to treat it as our superior because of its interconnectivity and its power sources and its the sheer number of devices and the fact that it doesn't need to eat or sleep. Humanity, in a sense, has met its match, and humanity has to deal with this entity somehow, and I think it's fairly soon as well. And I wish I had some answers as to how we can even begin to deal with a conscious internet.